personality hinges on response. So such a person, now if such a person wants to turn spiritual, what must he do? Whatever it is that you're doing, convert it into worship. So he is performing actions. These actions are converted to worship. This is the external sadhana, karma yoga for the active people. And the other category, very few in number. If you don't have very many desires, you have very few desires, all the stimuli enter you. The World Cup ad enters you, no desire for cricket, so nothing happens. Diamond jewelry ad comes to you, you have no desire for jewelry, nothing happens. What else? A car ad comes, you have no desire for car, it doesn't activate you, doesn't excite you. No reaction, no response. And so the bulk of that person, the contemplative person, introverted person, since there is no reaction and no response, the bulk of his personality hinges on mere receipt. So if he turns spiritual, what does he do? The receipts are converted into worship. This part, the internal sadhana, we'll discuss tomorrow. So those of you who are interested in it, you'll have to come tomorrow. And external is what we're talking about now. So the three yogas, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, when he says karma yoga for the active people, he includes all this. What he means is action, the response. So if an extroverted person performs karma yoga, what will he do? He will first identify his swadharma, he will fix a higher ideal and dedicate his work to that higher ideal. So the bulk of his activity is centered around action. So what will happen? He is running around here, there, everywhere. He's organizing things. It's focused on physical action. Bhakti yoga is love, not attachment. It's selfless consideration, oneness with everybody. We've discussed this earlier. Now this, bhakti, how do you pursue it? This person goes to bhajan classes, bhajan performances, he goes to a temple, church or mosque, he goes on pilgrimage. So even in bhakti, even in the cultivation of bhakti, he is focused on external activity, not the internal feeling. And jnana yoga is knowledge. So he goes around attending lectures, he goes through the television channel, and he's just gathering knowledge from everywhere. He's not focused on thinking, contemplating. It's just external. Who's conducting a program where, and he goes from one lecture to the other, one program to the other, trying to gather as much knowledge as possible. With all this, the bulk of his responses goes down, then he's prepared for the internal sadhana, which, as I said, we are going to discuss tomorrow. So now we move to verse 14.
Asau maya hata shatruhu hanishye cha paranapi Ishvarohamaham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi.
Yesterday in verse 13 we saw how a demonic person, an asuric person, focuses on physically just sense objects, indulgence in the senses. At the mental level is what he's talking of in this verse, and the next verse, the intellectual level. So at the emotional level, he sees only enemies. This is so true. A person who is selfish, when he looks around him in the world, only sees competitors. He sees enemies. He does not see friends. Where there are friends and family members, he vitiates the whole atmosphere and makes enemies. So he says, this enemy has been slain by me, I will slay others too. I am the Lord, I am the enjoyer, I am perfect, powerful, happy. So what happens is, when you're selfish and self-centered, the whole world is an impediment to your personal sense gratification. So you want everything only for yourself. Even the wife, the husband, the children become competitors. And others though, of course. So this leads to a deranged mind, because the deranged mind feels insecure because he thinks the whole world is against him. Actually, he is against the whole world. Nobody is an enemy, except in his imagination. Everyone is opposition, everyone is competition. And therefore, the Asuric people develop antagonism and ill will, anger and hatred towards everyone. This is what builds up. You see, one thing you need to remember, as long as you are angry and hateful towards people, you are the one who will be impacted the most. So in effect, you are destroying yourself. However much you may plot and scheme and manipulate to destroy others, you cannot do anything to destroy. You don't have the power to destroy others. They destroy themselves, you destroy yourself. And so you're planning and programming only to destroy yourself. And such a person assumes lordship. He says, I am the Lord. Actually, lordship power comes to a person who does not want anything. Look at an outstanding example of this is Gandhiji. Incorruptible. You think the British did not try every trick in the book to get around him? Incorruptible. A person who does not want anything is one who cannot be bought. And here we are falling at every 500 rupee note is enough for us to do things. Disgusting. So here it is. I am the Lord, he says. I am the enjoyer. He needs to say I am the enjoyer because the fact is he doesn't enjoy. An Asuric person never enjoys. And I am perfect, powerful, happy. You have to actually see, when Swami Ramatirtha went to America for the first time, in those days there were no aircraft, this was more than 100 years ago. So they went on a ship, and that ship would take months to reach there. So as on the journey, and in those days only rich people traveled. And a sannyasi, that was Swami, was unheard of in those days. So as the ship was about to dock in New York, he had made friends with an American. It so happened that he was a multi-millionaire. Swami Ramatirtha was blissfully unaware of all this. But that American came up to him and said, oh, we're just about to reach New York. Do you have any friends here? Do you know anyone here? He said, yes, I know one person. Who? You, he said. Because some Maharaja here sent him on a voyage to America to go and lecture. He only paid for his ticket there. He completely forgot how he was going to manage there. Swami Ramatirtha went without a dime in his pocket. Look at the power. Look at the confidence. Look at and he was looked after royally by this multimillionaire who was so captivated. He was so attracted by the fact that a man could go to America with no money, no medical insurance, no health insurance, nothing. And now you go to America, you make arrangements for everything. Suppose I get a heart attack, what will happen? Suppose this happens, what will happen? If the immigration do this, what should I do? You plan for everything. But here is a man who just went there. Imagine the confidence, security. And the more destructive you are, the more insecure you are. The more unselfish you are. You may not have anything, no wealth in your pocket, but you'll be totally secure. This is the thing. But the Asuric people, the demonic people just don't understand this. Therefore, they put on an act of being perfect, powerful, happy, none of which they are. Next verse.
आढ्योऽभिजनवानस्मि कोऽन्योऽस्ति सदृशो मया यक्षे दास्यामि मोदिष्ये इत्यज्ञानविमोहिताः.
Now, this verse speaks of the intellectual level. He says, I am wealthy, well born. Who else matches my stature? I will sacrifice, I will give, I will rejoice. Thus they are deluded by ignorance. So he prides himself on being rich and well born. An Asuric person suffers from kartrutva bhavana and bhoktrutva bhavana. The complete total focus on myself and say, I am the doer, which is even factually incorrect. Even if you have achieved something, for you to have achieved whatever it is that you've achieved, you have been dependent on the contribution